Story of the night saw the Demons get out of the blocks real quick. The speed of Watts was impressive. Following with a handball to Turlick, who goaled. Melbourne kicked the first 2 goals of the game. They looked great. And then, of course, there was an opportunity for Josh Saunders. In just his 10th game, did Will Rowell. Templeton kicked his first goal in league football, and he's going to be a star of the future. But in the third quarter, it was Melbourne who got within 1 point after this Shannon Burns goal, and they looked like they were going to really contest it, but then Rewalt come forward. He kicked 2 goals, Stanley got 1, Armitage got 1. They got out to a 26-point lead, and you can see this one from Armitage. It was really, really, in the words of Bruce McAvaney, special. It was great, and at 3/4 time, St Kilda by 19 points.
Yeah, 8-6-54 to 4-11-35. The Demons kicked 10 points in a row after kicking the first 2 goals of the game, and that would have given Paul Roos a bit of heartache. This is him issuing some instructions at 3/4 time. Richo, we've said a lot tonight. I think overall he'd be really happy with effort, just the frustration of some skill errors and basic turnovers.
Yeah, absolutely, no doubt. 4 goals, 11, sorry, doesn't help his cause either, but there's been plenty of things to like about it.
What do you think, Lingy? Can the Demons get back into this 19 down?
Well, it'll be very hard, BT, because they were forced to use their sub, Jack Fitzpatrick, very early on. Tommy McDonald's a bit sore, so they might lack that little bit of run. St Kilda, on the other hand, they've had their sub up their sleeve, and they've just used it at 3/4 time. Jack Billings, the man subbed on, and it looks like it's Jimmy Webster who's been subbed off for the Saints, so I'm expecting them to run over the top of the Demons in this last quarter.
Yeah, I think you're probably right there, Lingy, and it's probably going to be because of that man. He's inside 50, he's a match winner, and unfortunately Melbourne down the other end haven't had a winner inside forward 50. They need to find someone down there, Das, that can take a couple of marks. Otherwise, they're going to have to rely on run and carry and try and run through 50 and kick goals, and I'm not sure they're going to have enough run to do that.
Yeah, I like the fact I can see Jack Watts starting on centre wing, and Paul Roos, I think, really wants to protect Jack Watts. I mean, the obvious thing would be to maybe push him forward and leave him down there, but Tom McDonald has gone to the goal square. He's got a horrible corky, and to see what he can do at a full forward.
So Jack Billings gets a look, the number 3 draft pick, All-Australian in the under-18s, of course, out of the Oakley Chargers is Billings, and he was highly regarded.
Their former Scotch College boy, Jack Billings, and he's straight into the play. There he is. He's really good overhead, we understand, as well. Pretty complete young package.
Tom Curran there with another clearance in the first disposal of the quarter. You'd be really impressed with him. Alan Richardson would be wrapped with his game tonight. 5 clearances.
17 touches to go with it.
Just stepped up when you're missing Montagna, Hayes and Stephen.
Well, that composure from Jack Watts. Weave in and out of traffic, use that leg speed and burst free.
Arms free, yeah, it was good, wasn't it? Here's Tyson from beyond 50. He stands and says, gee, that was a good kick from me. And Melbourne in the hunt.
He had a hard time in football, Jack Watts. He's been much maligned, the number 1 draft pick, but you've got to start paying some credit to that. Speed, burst out of trouble and set up a goal that's put Melbourne right in this contest.
Been really impressive tonight, Jack Watts. Noons. St Kilda have responded to most things all night. Let's see what they can do here. Meister over the top to Saunders. Needs to gather. There he is, the youngster. Missed his first ping at the goal, did Billings.
Oh, no, that will stay with him for a long time, young Jack. Look at this, he runs into an open goal pretty much and just jammed it into the post.
He's gone the forward roll, Mark.
Do you reckon you just kick a drop punt there, BT, or not?
Well, he's a youngster, and they don't do anything conventional these days, Richo. Yeah. Even when they go out at night, they don't go out till 2 a.m. in the morning.
What do they do?
I don't know. Donald.
Still think you're probably better kicking a drop punt there.
Jones it was, I'm sorry. To Tyson. So Melbourne with that first goal. Back within 14 points. And really inserted themselves into this one now. Ray around the corner. Been impressive all night as Farron Ray. Saunders again. How good's he been? To Clint Jones. Inside 50 Jones. Caught behind Meister. Needs a bounce. Boundary line.
Not a bad result, though. They can set up stoppage situation now, and they'll get their structure in behind the footy, as you can see there. They'll be able to get all their defenders will come up and press in.
Over the back, reaching was Spencer.
Fine. Thanks, Matty. Move behind. Play on, not 15.
Melbourne fighting here. Jones committed, won himself a free.
In the head. Thanks, Josh.
It's a great choice as captain, isn't it, Richo, to have someone who plays the game that way, sets the example, and
Thanks, Tom.
Lee would be sort of player that you'd like to play alongside him, I'm sure, the way he goes about it.
No question, Das. Just love the way. And he's done it with not a lot of support over the last couple of years. You know, Melbourne haven't had great teams and a lot of success, but he just keeps turning up week in, week out and putting in his absolute best effort. And it's great honour for him to be captain of the footy club, co-captain with Jack Grimes, and he's just continued to play the way he's always played.
Some cheek about him, Josh Saunders. He was just yapping off at Nath Jones there. Melbourne under real pressure at the moment. Can't seem to get the ball out of this area of the ground. St Kilda supporters trying to inspire their team. Reasonable crowd in here tonight. This being a St Kilda home game, I would say in the high 20s, maybe even 30. Farron Ray, left foot. Meister's one out, just the way he'd like it. Ball's in a good spot. Savage around the corner. Just a little wide, very wide, in fact.
Shane Savage is one who's probably found it a little bit difficult tonight settling into his new team. He's only had the 6 possessions and a shot at goal there. He's probably that type of player who was a bit of a fringe player at Hawthorn that the Saints would be hoping now with more opportunities through the middle part of the ground and that he can have a real impact in that midfield area, being able to push forward and kick goals like he did at the Hawks, but probably not his best night tonight.
Do you think he is a midfielder, Lingy? Just having a look at that injury to Jack Watts there, I think he'd be okay.
Yeah, I think he can be. I haven't seen enough yet, Richo, to know that he's going to be a really top quality midfielder, but he can be that type of player who can spend bursts in the middle, find the footy. I think he'll be more dangerous when he does go forward and maybe only get just a few possessions up forward, but be real dangerous ones that end up either with goals to him or goals to his team.
Dunstan was wrapped up in the tackle. There's Saunders. Right to kick around the corner. Rewalt, perfectly placed. Long way out is Rewalt. He's got Meister top of the square.
He's taken his 9th mark. That's about career average for Nick. Just an incredible player.
Goes short. Jones now to Quill. Winds up from 55. Low long ball from Quill. What a rocket.
It was well set up by the Saints. Nick Riewoldt had it on the boundary. There was nothing really forward of the footy. A lot of numbers inside 50. So he came inboard and Wilt just had too much time to set that kick up.
Well done, James Wilt. Got a poke in the eye. I think Mitchie in the middle there as well. Into his haunches. Eli. Templeton. Eli.
We've got an Eli update, BT.
Oh, have we? What's the update?
The Eli from Port Adelaide is actually Elijah. So he may be the first Eli to play league football.
We still think he's the only Eli ever. That goes good. We've got something special. Have a look at this. Tumpus going back. Marks.
49 metres.
Down on the marks at 49. So Tumpus will be just outside the 50. Goes short. Good lead and honours that nicely. So Tumpus cool. Getting it there to Matt Jones.
They're really suffering from not having a big at all to be able to dump the ball long to, so this is their only real option.
Gives it off to Vince. Vince, let's go with a big ball. What about that from Bernie?
Yeah, that Alan Richardson won't like that. Bernie Vince, he's a great long kick. He always has been in his time at Adelaide. For him to be able to get a handball received there, just a lack of concentration from the Saints.
Had a couple of misses, but that was a ripper from Bernie Vince. And Melbourne have kicked 2 goals to 1 in the quarter. An opportunity to strike forward again. Long ball came in there from Mitchie. keeping it alive here. Kennedy Harris, tackled to the ground, Quill. Umpire says get on with it, it's all good. Now Dunstan. Got to go again, Dunstan ran straight into Mitchie. Mitchie didn't give an inch.
Has a crack, this young Luke Dunstan, but Joe.
It was.
He really has a go, doesn't he? He's super impressive.
I think the thing about him is his body is big enough. He's got enough size and he's able to match it physically in his first game of league footy.
Well, people will look at the scoreline here and not a lot of goals kicked, but what it won't tell you is just how hard a contest this has been. This has been like two seasoned sides playing really tough, competitive sort of footy you expect to see late in the year when you've got a lot of games under your belt. It's been really hard at it contest.
I think both sets of supporters would be pretty happy with what they've seen tonight. They're getting an effort, they're getting a competitive effort from their sides. And the other stuff will come from that. The goals, the free-flowing play will come if you get the hard stuff right. So they've got something to work from here.
So Geary at half-back. With Mark Pedersen. So Melbourne look like they're easing their way back into this one nicely. Position 14 points down at the moment, Frawley. He's got plenty on in the middle. He sees one down the line. Rewalt was able to get a hand on it. Savage there as well. Another flick of the handball out there was good from Saunders. Gilbert, good kick. Stanley had it in both jukes. Really should have marked that. Should have been stickier than that.
Yeah, that's disappointing. Bruce Stanley, he worked hard, but that's the difference between being a good AFL player and one who you just got to worry about.
Tom McDonald, he cannot go at all now. I'm not sure what you do though, Lingy.
Oh, you can't do anything now.
Have a look at him in the foreground there, Lingy.
Yeah, not when the game's on the line though, and they haven't got the sub up their sleeve. He's just got to stay out there and compete as hard as he can.
Poor kick by Robertson. Over the back, they'll mop it up. But Tom McDonald just can't go at all. It hurts me to watch it. The Saints to Geary. Geary gets a look, and it was Dunstan that got him the footy. And Geary now from a 45-degree angle.
I feel he's going to be in a fair bit of agony the next few days. That is a big corky that he's got. Cannot go a yard. Here's the Reece Stanley mark. He did all the hard work. He pushed hard and just couldn't quite hang on to it. It was a good kick going into him as well.
McDonald coming off now as we speak as well, as Geary comes in from 48, and that is a lovely kick from Geary. St Kilda answer yet again.
Well, Tommy McDonald there coming towards the bench. He's really frustrated, just launching the mouthguard into the bench. He just can't run at all. Knows that he's hurting his team by not being back out there. Would love to be able to run smoothly, but struggling at the moment.
Frustrated, Lingy. Here's McDonald. Rewalt and Frawley. Cross. Just threw it out the back door. I think the umpire might have pinned him there for a throw. Once again, Saunders. High footy. Flying over the top. Couldn't quite mark on that occasion, Billings. Gilbert's got to go. Picked it up cleanly in the one hand. Tried to bust the tackle. Melbourne got an overlap run. Couldn't quite get it to Kennedy Harris. Now Nate Jones. Out wide to Trengove.
Just got a little look at Jack Billings there, the number 3 draft pick from last year. He's got some great elevation on his leap as Paul Roos looks on and glances at the computer. And they've just run out of options here tonight, haven't they? Fitzpatrick off early with the sub. Tommy McDonald can't run, and it'll be a bit too much for them. But no credit taken away from St Kilda. They've been super impressive as well.
Mitchie bangs the ball forward. Dempster cocked it on the head, I reckon. Here's Quill. Got to go get it. Pressure on the handball to Jones, who's still leading all possession getters here tonight, or level with Nate Jones, 32 touches each.
Yeah, he's really stepped up and needed to. And there's Rewalt pushing down to half-back.
Not bad, is he?
Yeah, you don't lose many games of footy when you win the contested possession, the clearances and the tackles, and that's what the Saints are looking like they're going to do at the moment.
Savage down the line. Meister needed to have stronger hands than that. Dunn. Nice and through the middle here for the Demons. Do they go? When do they go? Do they go?
A lot of numbers back there, BT, so they had no option here but to hold it up. And
Vince was clobbered in the tackle as well. He got a chance to make amends here now, though. Kick out in front of Tumpus. Dempster arrives. Saves the day.
You mentioned those numbers back for St Kilda. Well, as soon as they won it there, they just had nowhere to go. So they've been really smart, really composed there just to hold onto the footy, because Melbourne had it covered if that kick had come out to the wing.
Just watching Rewald run. It's a freak show.
And he's actually, having a look at him out in the warm-up, I reckon he's as fit as he's ever been with his body fat. He looks more defined, more cut than he's been his whole career at BT.
Not only the game, but the warm-up he does in the 2 hours. He does
about 20 Ks before the game. I was tired watching him before the game.
Here's Howe. Jeremy Howe with a whopping kick. Tumpus, what can he do? Dempster did really well with the body, not to let him get a run, then jump over the top.
he's a very good one-on-one player, Sean Dempster. He's an All-Australian defender 2 years ago, because he does that really, really well. Melbourne have more possessions tonight, 373 than in any game last year. So that to me is something to take away. At least they're finding the ball.
Melbourne need the next one. St Kilda hanging on here at the moment. Jones to Farron Ray. Goes wide and hard. Nice stuff.
And the D's, they've been inside 50 more as well, but they just haven't had a functioning forward 50, and that's one of the major differences tonight. And some players have really stepped up for the Saints in the midfield. Jones and Curran had 12 clearances between them, and young Dunstan's had 5. So those 3 players stepped up when they had to.
This has been the order of the night, where they've been very patient, both teams, and they haven't either got it in the right hands of the right person to make that difficult kick in the middle, and they've just basically played within themselves, both sides here tonight. As far as their kicking game at half-back, Ray.
Said Farron Ray needed a big night tonight, and he's worked really hard with their midfield depleted. His powerful runner is that man there with the footy in his hands.
Barely the journey there, that kick you would have thought. Rewalt goes back, you can see the coaches bottom right there. They know this one's still on. Here's Robertson with a 3-bounce run, drawing handball in the middle. The handball wasn't fantastic. Made Delaney bend down to try and get it. Now Delaney tries to make amends for the Saints.
Seeing Alan Richardson there, the St Kilda coach, and a lot of people outside of footy may not know Alan Richardson as well as all of us do. He's had an unbelievable apprenticeship. He played the footy in great style. It reminds me a bit of Ross Lyon, who was around as assistant coach for so long, and maybe some eyebrows raised when he got the first opportunity to coach St Kilda. And we all know what a superstar Ross Lyon is now. And you know, with Alan Richardson, he has always wanted to do it. He's been preparing his whole life for this role, and I get the feeling he's going to make a good fist of it, Richard.
And he's been to, I reckon, 6 clubs, just off the top of my head.
Gave away a very successful electrical business early on to say, no, I want to have a crack at footy. I think him and his dad were involved.
He's been at the Dogs, Richmond, Port Adelaide, Carlton.
And he has more experience, as Das is saying, than a lot of people would think. He's very calm. He was at one stage regarded as the best development coach in Australia when he was at Collingwood. Remember all those young kids they were bringing through ready to play?
Almost set up the academy style that all the clubs go for now. Development wasn't really a department a few years ago, and he was the one that really changed the face of that in lots of ways.
So he is well within his rights to be sitting in the main chair tonight, is what we're saying. Thought would have happened a lot earlier. Jones. Little ball in here, Billings. Went with one hand. Templed it out the back for his 2nd goal of the night. Wasn't that a touch of class? Eli.
And look at his. He looks good when he's got the footy in hands, doesn't he? The way he runs, and he's got a nice kicking style.
I know the hair, but it's not unlike Dalhouse at Bulldogs, is he?
Well, I think David Armitage said before the game in the warm-up he thinks he's Dyson Heppel.
He also said, I think he'll be a star. He did. He told us before the game. A cult hero about him, Eli.
dad was a good footballer in Tasmania for Bernie, Peter Templeton.
Tell us a little bit about him, Richard.
Just a star player down there on the northwest coast. His uncle, Mick Templeton, as well, played for Devonport. Tracksuit Templeton, he was called. Never ever trained without a tracksuit on.
Savage. Time starting to tick against the Demons now. 31,657 here tonight. Impressive crowd. Demons must get the next one and they must start going now. Cross. Back to Watts. Frawley's got to get rid of it quickly. He did. Got to understand the urgency now. With only 5.5 minutes remaining, they're going to have to score very quickly, and I'm just not sure I can see it. Bale over the top to Kennedy Harris. Has a look. Can he go all the way? Little handball over the top. Looking for Tyson. Bundled out of the way. Handball back to Tyson now. Here's an opportunity. Pedersen into an open goal. Missed.
It's what's killed them tonight, hasn't it, guys? Just their kicking for goal and their composure going forward. They've done so much right. They've clearly improved on so many things over the summer, but you're just going to struggle to win games when you can't capitalise on all that hard work.
As you said, Russell, 31,657 in the house. It's a good turnout for Saints' home game. I reckon a lot of Melbourne people are here tonight as well. And
they don't normally come here, the Melbourne people, either. So good effort.
They're galvanised behind Paul Roos, and I don't think any of them will go home tonight and question whether or not they should keep coming to the footy this year. I think they're going to have good value for money, both supporters.
Watts. Nate Jones. Tackle after tackle, bump after bump tonight. It's been a hard physical game.
I think the biggest challenge in the coming weeks is Nate Jones. He's worked so hard. The biggest challenge for them is just going to be finding a forward setup that can work for them, the D's, in the next few weeks with all those big keys out.
They do not like this ground, Melbourne. This will be their 17th consecutive loss if they go down here. And ball comes back into Tyson. Long ball to the square. St Kilda with some numbers. Dempster under enormous pressure. Burns worries him out of it. Should concede, and they do. Has that got into the mind of them? 17 straight losses here.
Oh, has to.
That's going to be one of his real challenges, and he knows it, Paul Roos. He's used the word scarring for Melbourne. When you've been through one of the worst periods of footy I think any team has been through, it'll take you a while to learn how to win again.
And he's quite rightly not put a win-loss aim or goal for the season. He just wants to see improvement, just wants to see competitiveness, and he's talked in percentage terms. He just wants to see, you know, that 10% improvement across all areas, rather than putting the pressure on. They've got to win X amount of games. If they don't do that, it's a failure. Really smart coaching.
Vince, hurried kick forward. Burns tries to keep it alive by punching it away to Moons.
That's good.
That's McDonald there. He's been frustrated with that corky he received early in the game. Really hasn't been able to, because he was playing really well early. Really well, Tom McDonald. Upset their structure a bit. Bernie Vince, a snap around the corner. Been impressive for the D's tonight.
Yeah, it's good pick up, Bernie Vince. He's added a lot to their midfield, 28 disposals. Probably let them down with some of his kicking, as he told us at half-time, 1 goal 4. The lowest score that Melbourne were able to hold aside to last year was 90 points. So tonight, that's a big step up already to have some Kilda with a couple of minutes to play under 70.
This game's got to give St Kilda a bit of belief too, considering I know it's Melbourne, and Melbourne haven't had a great couple of years, but without Lenny Hayes, without Joey Montagna, all these different players, without Jack Stevens, the best and fairest winner from last year, for some of these kids to stand up and get a win in an AFL proper game of football, that's got to give them a lot of belief.
And Lingy, everyone's had a fair crack at the Saints over the summer. A lot of people saying they'll finish on the bottom, so this is a great win tonight with all those players you just mentioned out.
They play GWS next week as well, St Kilda.
Lee Montagna will be back in the side. He's got a week suspension. That'll help a bit. I'm not sure how far away Adam Snyder is and Lenny Hayes, but...
Lenny Hayes back next week, Gus. He's same thing, suspension.
Well, they're two pretty handy ins, aren't they?
My word, they are.
Third win in a row for the Saints.
Well, they won. Yeah, they won the last two of last year, didn't they?
The Gold Coast, and they beat Freo when Freo left a lot of players out in that last round.
Only Hawthorn are on a better winning streak at the moment than the Saints. We're clutching at straws, Rich. But that's true.
It's got stats everywhere, hasn't it?
They're enjoying it, the fans. They're enjoying it here at Etihad Stadium, their home ground. And why not? It's been a long summer. New coach, new players. And here they are winning their first game of the year. GWS and West Coast over the next 2 weeks. They play, and Melbourne have West Coast and GWS in that order.
So having those two blokes led the way tonight as well. Clint Jones, he's had the 39 possessions. Nick Rewalt's been fantastic again. We know how great a player he is. But on a night where they've had so many young players without those experienced stars that we mentioned, those two blokes have stood up incredibly well.
Let's get Clint Jones to 40. Career best, 35 was his best before tonight.
He's on 39. The tagger. The released tagger, Clint Jones, 39. Edison. Just a half a minute remaining in the game. Edison from just on 50 sticks it out to the right-hand side. 17-point margin.
6:15 the scoreline. Isn't pretty. 10 behinds in a row. We've spoken about a bit tonight, so automatically you feel like you could fix that up.
So the Saints have done well running down the clock in this last 3 or 4 minutes as well, and making absolutely sure that Melbourne couldn't get back into it. Done a great job. Armitage burst through. Here's Billings. He wanted a kick. He got the call from inside. St Kilda have won and defeated the Demons by 17.
This means a lot to the St Kilda players. All smiles. Let's get down to ground level with Cameron Lee.
Well, a very, very happy skipper of the Saints here. Rui, in a game where you had so many young players, a few of your experienced stars out, just a really, really good win, a really good confidence booster for the club.
Yeah, it was. It was a fantastic effort from everyone, really. I thought everyone contributed really well tonight. We've concentrated really hard on our defence, and I think that was a feature. Just young guys. That's what we ask when you pull on the Saints jumper, is to come in and play your role and have a crack, and we did that tonight.
You've always led the way, but tonight did you take on that little bit of extra responsibility, knowing that you had to stand up, and you did so well tonight? Stand up and lead these young guys?
I thought, we had some great leaders across the board. Sam Gilbert, the way he was able to come back from a broken foot, and, it's probably too hard to individualise, but the effort you give is the effort you give, and if we can give effort like that every week, well then we'll take the result that we get.
We touched on throughout the call about your work rate. What are your GPS numbers? How much do you run in a game, kilometres?
I've probably slowed down a bit in the last few years, Lingy, but they can't measure it with the roof, so I'm not too sure. We'll have to guess about that one.
Just claim over 20 Ks, you reckon?
Yeah, about half of that.
Well done, mate. Sensational.
Melbourne are pretty good as well. And we're joined live in the studio as he's just heading down to the rooms by Lee Montagna, who we said would be back next week. How good was that?
Oh, look, that was terrific. The boys were sensational tonight. Started at the top with Nick Rewalt. His effort was unbelievable, and it filtered all the way down to our first gamers in Luke Dunstan, Eli Templeton. It was terrific.
I reckon Richo, your coach, would have been absolutely ecstatic at the contested ball side of things tonight.
Look, that's his focus. I mean, that's what you're going to see all year from St Kilda. We were, contested ball, tackles, tough in the contest, relentless pressure, and I'm sure Richo's going to be very proud of the boys.
Stay with us for a moment, Lee. Let's get back down to Cameron Ling.
Well, Jonesy, Joey Montagna just talking then about how you're aiming to have that relentless pressure, just constantly coming back to the footy, winning the contested ball. You led the way in that area. You must be pleased.
With a lot of young boys in, our pressure was fantastic, and that's what we wanted to do. Apply that pressure and get some turnover goals, which was good.
Gives you a bit of belief too. You've got Lenny Hayes coming back next week. You've got Joey coming back next week, that you can attack GWS with a lot of confidence.
Yeah, it's nice to have those experienced boys back in the side. Jack Stevens probably not too far away either, so it's a luxury to have two guys like that to come back in.
Now, come on, mate, be honest with me. I know what it's like as a tagger. You love just being released a little bit to just go and get the footy.
No, it's something tonight, I suppose, just to be able to play a bit of half forward and a bit of midfield without the tag. So, I'm sure throughout the year I'll definitely be doing some tagging jobs. So, won't get out of myself.
Sensational effort, mate. Well done tonight.
So Clint Jones relieved of tagging duties, Lee, and all of a sudden he has 39 touches. He would be over the moon.
Yeah, I think he was meant to actually play as a defensive forward tonight with his pressure, but no, he can rack him up, Jonesy, and I'm sure he'd be disappointed to get 40 because he loves counting his stats, but he was sensational tonight. As I said, our leaders I thought were sensational. Started with Rui and Clint Jones, Sean Dempster down back, Jaron Geary, they were all sensational, and as I said, it filtered right down to our first gamers.
Yeah, the first gamers were sensational as well. I mean, Dunstan, Templeton, I know Billings only got on towards the end, but they were really significant. Saunders was incredibly impressive.
Yeah, Saunders was sensational too, and even Nathan Wright and Jimmy Webster down back were terrific. Tommy Curran, he did a reasonable job on Bernie Vince, but also won a lot of clearances and contested ball himself. And look, couldn't be proud of the boys' efforts. I know Richo will be really pleased. That's all we're after, to just try and win the contested ball, the tackles, and put in a good result.
Look at Clint Jones. He's having a bo peep at the scoreboard because they've got the stats up there. He said, "I've had 39. Thank you very much." There is Billings and Robertson there, of course, who played a significant part down back, and of course that was absolutely fantastic. They were very, very impressive. You played with a lot of composure tonight, especially across the back half, given a lot of these guys were young.
Yeah, they were, and that's right. I know probably at times it would have been frustrating to watch where we were just trying to keep a little bit of possession off Melbourne, and they were certainly doing that with us. That's how they like to play and maintain possession, but I thought our boys did pretty well at not letting them get inside 50, and then in turn when we got the footy, we used it reasonably well, and at the right times we went forward and gave Rui a chance, and as I said, he was sensational tonight.
Listen to the roar there. Just a quick word before we let you go down to the rooms, Lee, but Eli Templeton also kicking his first. He's got a little bit of go about him, isn't he?
Yeah, he does have a little bit of go about him. He's a terrific kid from Tassie, and he's got a bit of pace, and really pleased for him. He was sensational tonight, and it's going to be great going down there and singing the song. It's going to be the first time without Milne to lead the charge. So he passed it over to Jack Stevens for this season, but Jack Stevens not around either. So I think they're discussing maybe who's going to take charge of the song tonight. But the boys will sing with gusto, and they should be really pleased.
Well, you'll be back next week. Thanks for joining us. Go down there and enjoy it.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Will do.
Lee Montagna joining us up here in the studio. We're about to cross down. Let's go and do it now.